She's only logistics," Major Reynolds had said, dismissing Staff Sergeant Maya Chen with a wave of his hand during the morning briefing. "Keep her in the TOC, pushing papers and coordinating supply runs. This operation requires real tactical expertise." 18 hours later, 8 Navy SEALs owed their lives to the woman he'd relegated to spreadsheets and inventory management, as her impossible coordination of 17 aircraft across 4 nations turned a catastrophic mission failure into the most daring rescue operation in recent military history. Staff Sergeant Maya Chen sat in the corner of the Tactical Operations Center, her fingers dancing across multiple keyboards as she tracked supply convoys, fuel deliveries, and equipment requisitions across 3 forward operating bases. At 28, she possessed an unremarkable presence-average height, practical brown hair pulled back in regulation style, with distinctive amber eyes that most officers never bothered to notice. Her uniform bore the standard logistics patches, and her desk was organized with the precision that characterized her every action. "Chen, I need the ammunition resupply figures for Bravo Company," barked Captain Morrison, barely glancing in her direction as he reviewed tactical maps with his staff. "And make sure those medical supplies reach Outpost 7 by 800. "Already completed, sir," Maya replied quietly, sliding a detailed report across the table. "The medical supplies departed 23 minutes ago with a security detail. ETA 747 hours. Morrison nodded dismissively and returned to his conversation with the other male officers about the ongoing SEAL reconnaissance mission in the Helmand province. Maya continued her work, her amber eyes occasionally flickering toward the tactical displays, showing the positions of DEVGRU Team Bravo 8 operators conducting deep reconnaissance near the Pakistan border. What none of the officers in the TOC knew was that Maya's logistics background was a carefully constructed cover. Her father, Colonel James Chen, had been a special operations planner for 26 years. Her mother, Dr. Sarah Chen, held a doctorate in applied mathematics from MIT and had consulted for DARPA on battlefield coordination systems. Maya herself held degrees in both logistics management and advanced military science, with additional classified training in multi-domain operations coordination that appeared nowhere on her official record. She had requested the logistics assignment specifically. It provided her with access to real-time intelligence feeds from every asset in theater satellite imagery, drone surveillance, communication intercepts, and movement patterns of both friendly and enemy forces. While others saw spreadsheets and supply chains, Maya saw a complex 3-dimensional battlefield where every vehicle, aircraft, and personnel movement could be orchestrated like a symphony. "SEAL Team Bravo has gone dark," announced Lieutenant Colonel Harrison from the communications station, his voice tight with concern. "Last contact was 347 hours, approximately 47 kilometers northeast of FOB Chapman." Major Reynolds stepped forward, studying the tactical display. "Probably just communication equipment failure. They're scheduled to extract at LZ Phoenix in 16 hours. Maya's fingers paused over her keyboard. She had been monitoring the mission peripherally, tracking the support assets and contingency plans. But something felt wrong. She pulled up the overnight intelligence summaries on her secondary monitor. Increased Taliban radio chatter, movement of 3 separate insurgent groups toward the area, and weather reports indicating an unexpected sandstorm approaching from the west. "Sir," Maya said quietly, raising her hand slightly. "What is it, Chen?" Reynolds asked impatiently. "The overnight SIGINT reports show coordinated enemy movement patterns converging on grid square 4,157, 9,823. That's within 8 kilometers of Team Bravo's last known position. Additionally, weather analysis indicates deteriorating conditions that will ground rotary aircraft for at least 14 hours, starting at approximately 1,100 hours." Reynolds waved her off. "They're SEALs, Chen. They can handle a little wind and some Taliban farmers. Stick to your supply reports. But Maya was already running calculations in her head. If Team Bravo was compromised and pinned down, and if the approaching weather system grounded helicopters as forecast, a conventional rescue would be impossible. The mathematics were unforgiving 8 operators, with limited ammunition and equipment, potentially surrounded by superior numbers, with no immediate extraction capability. She quietly began pulling additional data streams, accessing satellite feeds and drone footage that technically fell outside her authorized scope. Her mother's training in pattern recognition and her father's tactical expertise had taught her to see connections that others missed. The enemy movements weren't random. They were executing a coordinated search pattern, systematically clearing known infiltration routes and observation points. At 923 hours, the silence from Team Bravo was broken by a brief, encrypted transmission. Lightning 6. This is Neptune 7. Grid 4000. 158 9831. 8 souls. Heavy contact. Request immediate extraction. Multiple wounded. The TOC erupted into controlled chaos. Major Reynolds immediately began coordinating a standard helicopter extraction, but Maya was already analyzing the tactical situation on her screens. The SEAL team's reported position was in a box canyon with limited approach routes, surrounded by enemy forces whose positions she could track through a combination of drone surveillance and communication intercepts. "Sir," she said, standing and walking to the main tactical display. "Permission to speak freely?" "Make it quick, Chen," Reynolds replied, focusing on his radio communications with the helicopter crews. "A conventional extraction won't work. The canyon has only 2 viable helicopter landing zones, both of which are now under enemy observation. The weather window closes in 97 minutes, and the nearest Apache gunships are still 43 minutes out from their current position at Kandahar." Captain Morrison looked up from his radio. "Then what do you suggest, Sergeant?" "That's some of our best people out there." Maya moved to the large tactical display, her amber eyes scanning the real-time feed from 3 separate drone platforms. "We need to create a multi-vector approach using every available asset in the theater. Not just helicopters everything." "Explain," Reynolds demanded, though his tone suggested skepticism. Maya began tracing lines on the digital map with practiced precision. "We have 2 A-10 Warthogs approximately 18 minutes out from Bagram. 1 AC-130 Spectre gunship at 31 minutes from Kandahar. 6 AH-64 Apaches scattered across 3 bases, and 4 MQ-9 Reapers already on station. Additionally, there are 2 Marine Corps V-22 Ospreys conducting a training exercise 54 kilometers southeast. Those assets are assigned to different commands, different missions." Morrison protested. "The coordination alone would take hours." "Not if executed simultaneously with precise timing," Maya replied calmly. She turned to her workstation and began pulling up communication frequencies, asset capabilities, and fuel status for every aircraft within operational range. The enemy expects a direct helicopter assault. Instead, we create multiple diversionary attacks while inserting the extraction team through the least probable approach vector. Reynolds shook his head. "The mathematical complexity alone makes it impossible. You'd need to coordinate 17 different aircraft across 4 different command structures, all converging on a target area the size of a football field, within a 12-minute window." "Physics and applied mathematics, sir," Maya replied, already beginning to type rapidly across multiple keyboards. "Plus, real-time battlefield coordination and adaptive timing protocols." She pulled up a 3-dimensional tactical model on the main display, showing aircraft positions, fuel states, weapons loadouts, and approach vectors. The A-10s create initial diversions attacking enemy positions on the North Ridge. The Spectre gunship provides close air support and illumination from the west. 4 Apaches execute rolling attacks on the eastern approaches, while the Reapers provide overwatch and target designation. Meanwhile, 2 Ospreys conduct the actual extraction from the South Canyon wall using fast rope insertion techniques. Lieutenant Colonel Harrison studied the display. The timing margins are impossibly tight. A 30-second deviation in any vector would result in blue-on-blue engagement or complete mission failure. The probability calculations approach 0, Reynolds added. No single coordinator could manage that level of complexity in real time. Maya met his gaze steadily. With respect, sir, I've been tracking every asset in theater for the past 14 months. I know their capabilities, their crews, their fuel consumption rates, and their response patterns. I can coordinate this mission. Absolutely not, Reynolds declared. This requires an experienced tactical air controller with years of combat experience. Sir, Maya said quietly, in 43 minutes, those 8 SEALs will either be extracted or they'll be overrun. The weather window closes in 86 minutes. There isn't time for conventional coordination protocols. The radio crackled with another transmission from Neptune 7. Lightning 6, enemy assault imminent. Estimate company. Strength force. Approaching from multiple vectors. Request immediate support. Maya was already pulling up communication frequencies and aircraft status displays. I can have the first diversionary attacks initiated in 11 minutes, with full coordination beginning in 18 minutes. Reynolds hesitated, looking at the tactical display, showing enemy forces converging on the SEAL team's position. Chen, if this goes wrong, then 8 of America's finest warriors die, sir, Maya interrupted quietly. Along with whatever intelligence they've gathered during their reconnaissance mission. Lightning 6. This is Logistics 7. Maya transmitted on the command frequency, her voice calm and professional despite the complexity of the operation she was about to coordinate. I am assuming tactical air control for Operation Urgent Recovery. All aircraft, acknowledge when ready. The responses came rapidly across multiple radio channels. Hog 7. 1. Ready for tasking. Spectre. 2. Standing by. Apache Flight Rampage. 4 birds ready. Reaper 3. 5. On station and ready. Osprey Flight Touchdown. Ready for extraction. Maya's fingers moved across 6 different keyboards simultaneously, monitoring aircraft positions on multiple screens while calculating approach vectors, fuel consumption, and weapons employment in real time. Her amber eyes flickered between displays showing enemy positions, friendly locations, weather data, and aircraft status. Hog 7. 1. Proceed to grid 4,000, 150, 99,000, 845, altitude 12,000 feet. Target enemy positions on the North Ridge with 30mm cannon. Time on target. 37 minutes, 15 seconds. Danger close authorization, granted for positions north of grid line 4,000, 158. Spectre 2. Approach from bearing 270, altitude 14,000. Prepare for close air support missions with 40mm and 105mm systems. Coordinate with Hog 7-1 for sequential target engagement. Maya's calculations were precise to the second. She had memorized the flight characteristics, weapons capabilities, and crew response patterns of every aircraft type. As each pilot acknowledged their tasking, she was already coordinating the next phase. Apache Flight Rampage, split formation. Rampage 1 and 2, approach via Route Falcon for targets east of the canyon. Rampage 3 and 4, orbit position, Bravo for rapid response. Weapons free on designated targets only. The radio traffic intensified as 17 different aircraft began converging on the target area. Maya monitored every frequency simultaneously, her mind processing multiple data streams while maintaining perfect situational awareness of every asset's position and status. Reaper 3. 5. Provides overwatch and laser designation for grid square 4,000, 158. 9,831. Stand by to coordinate terminal guidance for Apache Hellfire employment. Touchdown flight. Begin approach via Route Silver. Maintain a low altitude profile until the final insertion phase. Prepare for fast rope extraction under fire. At exactly 1,034 hours, Maya initiated the most complex sequence of the operation. All stations, Lightning 6. Execute Phase Alpha in 3, 2, 1, execute. The A-10s rolled in first, their 30mm GAU-8 cannons tearing into enemy positions on the North Ridge with devastating accuracy. The distinctive sound of the Warthog's guns echoed across the mountains as they delivered precisely aimed fire within 200 meters of the SEAL team's position. Hog 7. 1. Excellent targeting. Enemy positions. Neutralized grid 4,000, 150. 9,847. Continue the attack. Shift fire east 200 meters. Maya's voice remained calm, despite coordinating multiple simultaneous engagements. She watched enemy forces scatter on her drone feeds while calculating the exact moment to introduce the next wave of attacks. Spectre 2. 2. Cleared hot. Target concentration grid 4,158, 9,856. Danger close. Friendly positions marked with IR strobes. The AC-130's Fortum Bofors gun began its distinctive pounding rhythm, each round precisely targeted based on Maya's real-time coordination with the SEAL team's laser designators. Enemy forces that had been advancing on the canyon were suddenly taking devastating fire from above. Apache Flight Rampage, cleared for Hellfire employment. Priority targets marked by Reaper laser designation. Time sequence. Rampage 1 at 1,036. 45. Rampage 2 at 1,037. 15. Sequential engagement east to west. The attack helicopter's missiles streaked toward their targets with perfect timing. Each Hellfire missile guided to its target by Maya's coordination of laser designators and target priorities. Enemy positions erupted in precisely timed explosions that created a corridor of destruction leading directly to the extraction point. Touchdown flight, cleared for final approach. Fast rope insertion in 45 seconds. All other aircraft maintain overwatch and suppressive fire. The two Ospreys appeared over the canyon rim at exactly 1,038. 30, their rotors churning dust as they descended into the narrow space between rock walls. Maya watched the extraction unfold on her screens while simultaneously coordinating continued fire support from the orbiting aircraft. Lightning 6, Neptune 7, came from the voice of the SEAL team leader. 8 souls on board, 3 urgent surgical, proceeding to extraction point Alpha. Outstanding coordination. Lightning 6. Maya allowed herself the briefest moment of satisfaction before coordinating the withdrawal of all 17 aircraft in sequence, ensuring no aircraft crossed paths and all assets returned safely to their respective bases. The TOC fell silent as the last aircraft reported clear of the target area. Maya quietly began shutting down her multiple workstations, filing after-action reports, and updating aircraft status logs as if she had just completed routine logistics coordination rather than the most complex air-ground rescue operation in recent military history. Major Reynolds approached her workstation, his expression a mixture of amazement and embarrassment. Sergeant Chen, that was. I've never seen anything like that level of coordination. Just doing my job, sir, Maya replied quietly, not looking up from her paperwork. Physics and applied mathematics. Captain Morrison joined them, shaking his head in disbelief. 17 aircraft, 4 command structures, 12-minute window. The mathematical probability of successful coordination was essentially 0. The SEAL team required extraction, sir. The tactical situation demanded adaptive solutions. Maya responded matter-of-factly. Over the following hours, as the rescued SEALs received medical treatment and debriefed their mission, word of the impossible rescue coordination spread through the special operations community. The mission was immediately classified at the highest levels, but among those who knew, Staff Sergeant Maya Chen's name was spoken with reverence. Lieutenant Colonel Harrison pulled Maya aside 3 days later. "I've been reviewing the operation logs from Urgent Recovery. The precision of your coordination, the real-time adaptability, the seamless integration of assets across multiple command structures. Where did you learn those skills?" Maya's amber eyes met his steadily. "Family background in military planning, sir. Applied mathematics degree. Pattern recognition training. And 14 months of watching every asset in the theater." What she didn't mention was the classified training program she had completed 2 years, Early Era Joint, DARPA, and Special Operations Command Initiative to develop advanced battlefield coordination capabilities. Her logistics assignment had been carefully chosen to provide her with the data access and operational familiarity needed to execute precisely this type of complex operation. The 8 rescued SEALs never learned the identity of Lightning 6, the voice that had coordinated their salvation. The operation remained classified, with only vague references to successful multi-domain coordination appearing in official reports. But among the aircrew who participated, among the commanders who witnessed the impossible, and among the special operations community that depended on such coordination, Maya Chen's capabilities were quietly noted and remembered. 6 months later, Maya received orders to report to a classified assignment at Fort Bragg. Her logistics cover would be maintained, but her real work would involve coordinating special operations across multiple theaters of operation. The Pentagon had finally recognized what she had always known, that modern warfare required coordinators who could see the entire battlefield and orchestrate its deadly symphony with mathematical precision. Major Reynolds, now a strong advocate for Maya's capabilities, recommended her for commendation. The recommendation was quietly buried in classified files, but not before he noted in his final evaluation, "Staff Sergeant Chen possesses tactical coordination abilities that exceeded every expectation and saved 8 American lives through the application of technical expertise and unshakable calm under pressure." As Maya packed her gear for her new assignment, she reflected on the dangerous tendency of military leadership to underestimate capabilities that didn't fit traditional expectations. The SEALs she had saved would never know her name. The aircraft crews might never understand how perfectly their actions had been coordinated. And the enemy forces that had been decimated would never realize they had been outmaneuvered by a woman they would have dismissed as only logistics. But Maya knew that in modern warfare, the most dangerous operators were often those who appeared least threatening, those who understood that victory came not from individual heroics, but from the perfect coordination of overwhelming force applied with mathematical precision at exactly the right moment. The rescue of 8 trapped SEALs had required 17 aircraft, 4 nations' airspace, and coordination across multiple command structures. It had been dismissed as mathematically impossible by experienced officers. But Maya Chen had always understood that impossible was simply a word used by those who lacked sufficient data, processing capability, and the quiet confidence to execute solutions that others couldn't even envision. Subscribe if you believe that the most dangerous warriors are often those whom others underestimate, those who possess capabilities that don't fit traditional expectations, but who can coordinate the impossible when lives hang in the balance.